Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm Colin and today I'm going to teach you how to play everyone's favorite stuck-up, half-witted, scruffy-looking nerf herder, aka Han Solo. But before we get into this, I would first like to thank KyloSlayer2003, link to his channel in the top right corner, for suggesting this video. Now for those of you who are new, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell. Now, let's get started.
Sector is clear.
Give us everything we got!
First things first, let's go over how you should play solo. Han Solo has one of, if not the lowest, health of all the light side heroes in the game. And it shows he only has 650 health, and he at most can regenerate 150. So Han is the definition of a glass cannon. So, the way you should play solo is one of two ways. A, team shots and moving with your team and being on the front. Or B, if you are good at radar retention, which I will discuss later, then you could try to flank your enemy. But if your flank goes bad, then you better hope your team saves you, or the enemies are just very terrible. Now let's talk about his abilities. His three abilities are Detonite Charge, Sharpshooter, and Shoulder Charge. And if you guys remember, Shoulder Charge and Sharpshooter are abilities from the last game. But instead of his Lucky Shot from the last game, we got Detonite Charge. Now, I will quickly go over his abilities. Han has his signature and heavily modified DL-44, which is a heavy blaster pistol that does high damage at close range, but it overheats very fast without the help of Star Charge, which I will discuss in just a short moment. One very special thing about Han's blaster is how much damage it does. It can one-shot a specialist and 3-tap any other class that has not been boosted by an officer. Let's talk about his abilities now. Han's Shoulder Charge is just like what it sounds. For a brief time, Han will charge forward with little bit of control, and when you hit a target, you will get the satisfaction of knocking over most enemies, and it's a great way to fight heroes that are blocking with a lightsaber and damage them. Detonite Charge is a charge that Han throws and blows it up. You can do this in the air too, unlike the Heavy's Detonite Charge, as a little tip for you guys. And last but not least, Sharpshooter. Since Since Han has modified his DL-44 so much, at the press of a button, Han's DL-44 fires very, very fast for a short time. Now I'll briefly go over what star cards I use to help me dominate the Battlefront. Now this is all personal preference, but this is what I use. I use Broad Shoulders, which states that Han Solo receives less damage while using Shoulder Charge. Next, I use Airburst, which states that the Detonite Charge will deal bonus damage if detonated before attaching to a surface. And lastly, I use Heavily Modified Blaster, which states an improved capacitator allows Han Solo's DL-44 to build up less heat when firing. I use this loadout in both Galactic Assault and Heroes vs. Villains. Now, like I said, this is personal preference, so change it to what you like, but this is what I use for my playstyle, which is very aggressive. Now, I would like to touch on the Broad Shoulders and Airburst star cards. Now, you might think these won't make that much of a difference, but with Broad Shoulders, when Boba Fett fires his rocket barrage, use your Shoulder Charge and tank half the damage. Same with you are getting shot at by a group of enemies in Galactic Assault. You should charge and tank half the damage and save you some health. And with Airburst, when you upgrade this to its max, you should be able to one-shot infantry in one shot, even if they have been buffed by an officer. Now I'll give you guys some tips on how to play solo. First, how to use Shoulder Charge effectively. Pound shoulder charge can be used two ways, which are A, offensive, or B, movement. Now, like I said, if a villain like Darth Vader or Kylo Ren blocks, you can charge at them to deal damage to them, but I would not recommend trying this unless you are about dead and want to help your team, or to finish them off if they're trying to buy time for their team to get to them. And B. Now, as I'm sure you guys know, Han's shoulder charge has an ending animation that takes a good 1 second, which could be the difference between life and death. But there is another way, and no, it is not the dark side, for all you Star Wars Rebels fans. And the way you should do it is, when you charge, roll before the animation starts, and you will save yourself a good half second. Number 2, radar attention. I know I say this in all my How to Not Suck guides, but it's very important that you guys get it in your heads so that you can see improvement. And this thing is, yes, you guessed it, radar attention, which is when you look at your radar every 3 to 7 seconds. Less time is best. And it has saved my bacon more than once. Trust me. Now, this will happen to you sooner or later, so you better be ready for it. You're enjoying yourself with a nice game of heroes versus villains, and out of nowhere, you see a lightsaber-wielding maniac, and you have little time to prepare. What do you do? So, with little time to spare, pop your sharpshooter, aim for the head, and you can take a villain from 100% to dust in no time with practice. Now, last, but most certainly not least, go for headshots. Now, if you want to read it, I would recommend you guys follow the link below to a post that goes over the different damages that heroes do, and trust me, Han relies on headshots. Thank you everyone so much for watching and taking the time out of your day to watch this video. And thank you so much for the continuing support. This channel runs on you guys, the awesome fans. Sorry for the stuttering, and sorry this video did not come out yesterday. If you have a How to Not Suck guide you would like me to do, leave a comment, and have an awesome day. And this is The Colin Show, signing out.